Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be serving up one of my all-time favorite sandwiches, the Banh Mi, that hails from Vietnam. It's char-grilled, sweet, sour, and spicy flavors are just a few of the things going on in this wonderful sandwich, and I am very, very excited to share it with you guys. So, let's dive into the recipe. Alright, so first things first, you are going to get the marinade for the pork ready by adding honey, dark sesame oil, soy sauce, tomato paste, brown sugar, chopped ginger, garlic, and lemongrass or lemon verbena, whichever you have on hand, to a small bowl. Finish the marinade off with some toasted and roughly ground coriander seeds. Then you're going to stir everything together and set the mixture aside until it's ready for the pork. Okay, so once the marinade is done, next up is the meat. So here I have some thinly sliced pork that is almost thin enough for the sandwich as it is, but I like the meat to be extra grilled and tender, so pounding these out a little bit more helps maximize the absorption of the marinade flavors. I use a few folded pieces of plastic wrap to cover the meat as I flatten it to prevent spattering and it's sticking to the flattening tool, so just keep that in mind as you tenderize the meat. After the pork has thinned out, lay it on a tray or plate and generously cover it with the sweet and spicy marinade on both sides. If you have the time, try to allow the meat to marinate covered in the fridge for an hour or so if you want a really rich sesame and spicy flavor. Or if you have even more time than that, 24 hours to have something extremely special. But if you don't have that kind of time and only wait 20 minutes or so while you prep the rest of the banh mi ingredients, it still has tremendous flavor. Alright, so next up is the shredded vegetables for the banh mi, which most banh mi tend to have. And here I'm going with some shredded orange and white carrots. Then I'm going to slice celery in kind of a similar fashion to what the mandolin gave me with the carrots, just because celery is very hard on mandolins because of how fibrous it is. And then you're going to add them to a mixing bowl. Once the veggies are cut, pour the rice wine vinegar, salt, and sugar right over the top. Give it a solid mix, then set it aside until you are ready to build the sandwich. But ideally you would want to let this sit for an hour or so, just to slightly pickle. Alright, so to finish up the veggie prep, you're going to thinly slice a jalapeno or two, along with red onion, which both are very synonymous with most banh mi recipes. Then you are going to get ready to grill the meat. Now that most of the prep is done and the grill is super hot, and I mean turn on your vent to super high or cook outside kind of hot. Once that has happened, begin to grill off the beautiful sweet, sour, and spicy pork for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. When the meat has some serious charred grill marks on it and it's fully cooked, grab a small French loaf, split it almost all the way through, then grill it on both sides until it's lightly toasted on the outside and beautifully warm in the middle. So at this point, everything should be ready to go. So I'm going to spread some sriracha and cilantro mayo on the inside of the bread that I just whipped up. Very, very easy to put together, and I'll put it in the description box below, so check that out. But then you're gonna stuff it with the grilled pork, a few layers of the pickled vegetables, some red onions, sliced jalapenos, and finally a bunch of fresh cilantro with the stems and all. Once that's all snug in the toasty bread, the banh mi is ready to be devoured. What's up, guys? All right, so my banh mi is done. This is a very good looking sandwich. Really the whole idea, or not the idea, but the centerpiece to this sandwich is really the meat. Usually there's some sort of pork. Pork is really traditional with this, but you really want to make it super flavorful. So lots of spices and different flares that you can do with that. But that's kind of the centerpiece. And then of course you have the pickled vegetables, that crunchy aspect, the really kind of the aromatic cilantro, and of course the super crispy like baguette loaf that you encase this beautiful sandwich with. So it's really kind of a myriad of textures and flavors that all complement each other, and I just love the look of this sandwich. So all right, I'm gonna stop gabbing, dive in, and tell you guys how I did. Wow. So the first thing you taste is that really grilled, flavorful pork. You have that kind of like grilled, charred flavor coming through, and then right away you have the crunchy vegetables, that vinegar, that pickled, acidic flavor that it kind of cuts through that charred flavor of the meat pretty well, and some of the fatty flavors that come off the pork. It's just one of those sandwiches that you could eat for lunch at least a few times a week, just because of how it's hearty, but it's also really refreshing. And if you like spicy, it has that beautiful spice that will linger with you for a while. And I'm just a sucker for that. So beautifully grilled meat, lots of wonderful flavors, pickly flavors. Obviously fresh herbs. I love fresh herbs, and the cilantro is a really good example of that. The spicy mayo, the jalapenos, and the baguette's just beautiful. So I definitely recommend you guys trying this out. If you do, make sure you share with me, how it turned out and your experience. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoy what I'm doing here. Give this video a like if you did enjoy the recipe. And of course, I will see you guys next time with another recipe. Later, guys.